November was a big month for the video game industry. In fact, it was a banner month for Microsoft. CNBC's John Fort is live in San Jose with a closer look at the November sales surge. John.
Michelle, I'm torn on whether we should call this a surge or not. Technically, yes. November software sales were up to $1.46 billion, 4% over last year. Console hardware sales were $1.08 billion, up 2% over last year. But there was plenty of bad news, too. Wedbush Securities and NPD helped out with these numbers. Sony's PS3 did not do well. Its sales fell 25% from last year, and the Xbox 360 outsold it 2.5 to 1. The music genre, which includes titles like Rock Band and Guitar Hero, continues to do just a third of last year's sales, which is dragging down the overall console software market. So, big picture, NPD is looking for 2010 sales to be flat compared to last year, even with the Kinect and all of that Call of Duty buzz. Wedbush is cautioning clients that these October and November numbers don't mean the video game industry is back on track. Word to the wise. And let's talk about Kinect. The motion control accessory helped Microsoft sell 1.37 million Xbox 360 units in November, with just 100,000. That's just 100,000 more than Nintendo sold of the Wii, which is now in its fifth holiday season. Microsoft expects to sell 5 million Kinects this holiday season, which is impressive, but not phenomenal. So going forward, is Kinect a game changer for the industry? To be fair, no. Nintendo's Wii changed the game. Remember, Kinect is looking to elevate that. And none of this addresses two of the main challenges to the industry: Apple's gaming surge with its iOS devices and the rise of social gaming led by Zynga and others. Back to you.
All righty, John Fort, thank you so much. Let's talk more about Microsoft's Kinect and whether or not it is the next big thing for software makers, at least. And does it give investors a reason to start buying video game stocks? For more perspective, let's bring in Doug Kreutz. He's Vice President and Senior Research Analyst at Cowen and Company. Billy Pigeon is a Senior Analyst at M2 Research. So, Billy, what do you make of this Kinect? It makes Microsoft cool again? Is it enough to really move the dial in the video game industry?
Well, it certainly does beyond the hardcore who already know Microsoft is cool. Now more casual gamers are going to think Microsoft's cool, or at least Kinect is.
Doug, do you think this all makes Microsoft cool? Is this a game changer for the video game industry?
Well, it certainly helps Microsoft. I think if you're talking about 5 million unit sales through the end of the year, that's still not such a big install base that third-party publishers are going to have a lot of incentive to invest a lot of dollars against that. So I think it's still really early to say what the Kinect is going to mean for the industry as a whole.
Billy, the new Kinect, does it open new revenue lines for other companies, including suppliers?
It certainly does. There's a number of cameras involved in it. There's motors. There's sensing software, IR software, accelerometers. So there's quite a lot of hardware in there. And also, accessories such as this move hardware. They'll move consoles, so that's good news for console manufacturers also.
So there's a whole ripple effect is what you're saying, Billy, is all these different suppliers end up providing. But 5 million units, you heard John Fort say, okay, that's pretty good, but it's not totally phenomenal. I mean, are those good enough numbers, you think, for it to really have an effect?
Well, so far, yes, because it's ancillary to regular Xbox business, and you're introducing a new group, at least either completely to the Xbox or in the household, and it's cheaper to create games for Kinect than it is for say, AAA hardcore games for Xbox 360.
Doug, what do you think about overall sales so far this year? You heard John Fort talking about them actually being flat. Some companies, some games are selling at 1/3 of what they were a year ago, or down 1/3 from what they were a year ago. Is there any catalyst that's going to happen that's going to get consumers, especially budget-conscious ones, to spend more on video games this holiday?
You know, I think it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking of the video game industry as a monolith. If you look at dividing it out into segments, software on the Wii is actually down significantly. It was down 21% year over year in November, whereas software on the Xbox and PlayStation platforms was up double digits and will likely be up double digits for the year. That's the section where the U.S. video game publishers really make their money. So there are segments that are really pretty healthy, and it's easy to get trapped by the headline numbers of thinking things are pretty bad.
Billy, you weigh in on that question. What do you think?
Sure. Well, the business has changed significantly and fundamentally. There's a lot more aftermarket sales. People are selling product in order to sell product after they sell the product to the consumer by digital download. There's a lot more digital downloads. There's digital and distribution. There is more PC business, games business than people think there is. There is more, of course, handheld games, but social games, all these other types of games, they all add up to money. And now they're growing much more aggressively. We're seeing some these changes are having a bigger effect, I think, on the traditional retail packaged goods business.
But they're cheaper, though, right? A lot of those social games, I mean, stuff that you download on an iPad or are a lot less than that pre-shrunk or that shrink-wrap box that you used to buy for $60 at the store, right?
Yes, but it's a lower risk because it's a lower cost. So, and it's a volume game if more people buy it.
So it's more like Walmart versus Saks Fifth Avenue. Doug, what are some of the key risks you think for the video game industry?
Well, I think one of the things that we've seen, and we heard about earlier about the PlayStation hardware units being kind of soft in November, we're well behind where we were last cycle in terms of console price cuts, and I think that the way that that's retarded the growth of the installed base has been a problem for the publishers. I'd also say that, you know, in the AAA product high end, we have seen development costs continue to increase, and the lineups have gotten more and more focused. So you have less of a diversified portfolio at many of these publishers, and if a game doesn't work, then there's definitely downside risk to earnings.
And Billy, how about you? What do you think are some of the risks, and what do you think of what Doug just said?
Well, certainly we have a bigger audience now, so there's more opportunity, but there's also more risk because people can play games anywhere, anytime, on any device, and they only have so much time. I think there's less a problem with people's wallets than it is with the amount of time, disposable time they have. But still, with the casual group, you are going to see more reluctance to spend, and that's a quite different audience than the hardcore audience, which publishers and vendors can count on.
All righty, gentlemen. Interesting part of the world that I just don't understand much. I do like the look of the Kinect. I feel like I could get a lot of exercise out of it. I don't know. It's probably the way women look at that. Are you rolling your eyes internally as I say that?
No, we'll get you. We'll get you with Farmville or something.
Okay, got it. Billy and Doug, thank you so much.